Good evening. I am Petty Officer 3rd Class Jesse Stevenson. I lived at the Miracle Hills Boys Shelter between the years of 2007 and 2008. My testimony begins when I was stripped from my family at age 9. I became awarded the state of South Carolina, where I lived at a foster home where things weren't the best. Things didn't work out, and I ended up moving to a group home in Orangeburg, South Carolina, called Connie Maxwell, where I ended up being moved again to a different branch of Connie Maxwell in Greenwood. And during this time, I considered myself to be religious, to be a Christian, but I was under this false pretense that showing up to church and playing the part was enough. During my time there, when you just become a number, not having someone directly to talk to confide in, I started straying away from Christian-like behavior, struggling, becoming angry at my parents, and maybe started to act out. And I was starting to pay the price for it. I ended up leaving Connie Maxwell in 2007 due to some unfortunate circumstances where I ended up at Miracle Hill. I'm not gonna lie to you, the first 2 weeks at Miracle Hill was horrible, horrible. I did not like it at all. Me and the staff, we bumped heads. I thought I knew everything, but they showed me I didn't. I ended up being homeschooled there my senior year in high school, and I ended up finishing a lot of the homeschool classes there quite early. And in the process, I was pretty much ahead of the curve. So they suggested that maybe I take the SAT and maybe consider going to college. And thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to college, maybe play some football or something like that. You know, every guy has a dream of playing sports in the pros. So I ended up taking the SAT, and I scored a 1530 out of 1600. And some people, being amazed, took a special interest in me. And I didn't really know the complete significance of what I had done, but just seeing the care factor from some of the staff and from some of the volunteers coming to talk to me, taking a personal interest, using their own time and money to come pursue, put in applications to colleges. I applied to a lot of different colleges, and I ended up wanting to go to Furman. Well, I ended up going to Furman for a year and a half on a full academic scholarship. And during that time, things were pretty good. I ended up running track there after Miracle Hill let me run track in high school. It actually let me go to public school. I was one of the first kids in the program to be allowed to go to public school. And between running track and excelling in things physically and academically that I never even imagined, I came across a time when my sister, she reached out to me. She lives in Charleston, and she told me that my mother was sick. And between being at Miracle Hill, I came to know Christ and understand that I needed a personal relationship, you know, to see people at Miracle Hill, everyday people struggle and just build their relationship with Christ day after day. I believe that I was able to develop a relationship with Christ as well. But when my sister came to me and asked me to help take care of my mother, I didn't want to. I was angry at her for abandoning me when I was young because she chose drugs over me. She was addicted to crack cocaine, marijuana, if you name it, she did it. And she decided to choose that over taking care of me, and I was angry. Dealt with it for a long time. And the people at Miracle Hill at the shelter, just talking with them and expressing how I felt, and them just being godly people and leading me on the right path and just discussing the importance of it is to take care of family, I decided to stop going to school and move in with my sister and get a job and take care of my mom. right now. She's been clean for about 2 years. She's on her own in Charleston. And I pretty much decided I didn't want to go back to school. I kind of got bored. So ended up joining the Navy, where things pretty much ended up going to a lot more school. And ended up joining the nuclear propulsion program, which is pretty decent. And I'll say I've been able to do things that I never imagined doing, being able to meet people that I've never met, and just being able to travel. I'd always been in South Carolina. Just to travel to different states was exciting for me. And I like to think that Miracle Hill had an important part in that. Just, once again, the people, the effort, and just taking a special interest in a kid, and just being flexible and understanding that each and every kid is different, and that each and every kid has a lot of potential if you just take the time to see that. So I would just like to thank all the people that are involved, whether it's donating money or time or what you do behind the scenes. I just wanted to personally thank you, because what you do does pay off. Thank you.